Welcome back to Black Clover Anime Review, episode number 36. This one I'm reviewing the 86th episode of the anime, Yumi and Vangence, and the 207 chapter manga, The Ultimate Mage. This one is still adapted from chapter 133. I looked up which page was adapted, what adapted from the manga for this particular episode. Roughly about one page. Yes, they did the page 10 for the finale for this episode. This episode picks up last week's episode left off with Yumi still talking about his, says that him and basically his time before became the captain of the Black Bull squad. So it basically talked about another mission that he and Vangence went on because they mentioned they went on several adventures together. And then they had to deal with basically a couple traders in the Royal Knight, in the Magical Knights. And of course work with the bandits from last week's episode. I'm like, okay. Yeah, working with people that they've met previously in another episode. Does it sound very familiar? Yes, they did the same exact thing for the Witch's Forest arc. The only difference being for that one was that the guy who showed up in those two episodes basically became a regular character throughout the rest of the Witch's Forest arc. In the case of this, yeah, William Vance was already a regular character in the series already, so he's not exactly like a character that appears like every single chapter of the whole series, more like a regular recurring character. So, in the case of this band, I don't think this band will return again. No, this band basically sits on basically a big boar, who can basically have flames, and apparently in this episode really can actually fly. I guess the old expression, pigs fly. And there's a big flying in this episode, and Yumi spends a lot of his fighting first on his broomstick. Yeah, because that is how that's how people do transportation in this series. Broomsticks. Yep, broomsticks. Not much of horses in this series. No, not really. Though the only thing that they do transport on is simply... Actually, there is horses, but the Diamond King makes horses out of diamonds. There is mention in this episode of the Spade Kingdom. Yes, the Spade Kingdom. Here is how basically that the world is basically laid out. You have the Clover Kingdom. To its right, it is the Diamond Kingdom. That's basically to the west. Well, actually to the east. The west is the Heart Kingdom. Nothing is known about them except the fact that they're there. To the north is the Spade Kingdom. Now, aside from the Diamond Kingdom, which is basically the Clover Kingdom's rival, there are two kingdoms, nothing know about them. I suspected that it might be a Spade Kingdom because they have a because they revealed there's a Heart Kingdom. First it was the Clover Kingdom and you have Diamond Kingdom. Okay, I'm thinking now. I theorized though that the name of his country came from playing cards. And seeing Heart Kingdom, yes, I was actually proven to be correct. So where they go is they actually go to this map of the country. They go pretty much to the upper, I'd say the northeastern part of the country. That's pretty much where they go. And yeah, and apparently people find a way to block communication. Apparently communication is world via, these magical tools. These things are about this big. Yeah, they look like, they kind of remind me of those push lamps. You just push the light, turns on. That's what this thing looks like. And it looks like you're talking to, what looks like a hand mirror. That's pretty much what these things are talking to. It's kind of something, it's an old spy technique, basically. I've only seen this in, one movie where women talk to a hand mirror. Basically, a hand mirror is simply just the thing you pull out of their purse. And they just pull it up like this. It's very similar to, except it's bigger. It's the size of their hand. And it's basically the similar shape, except there's no hinge on it to open it up. So they reveal who the Magic Knights are, and it's two people who I've never seen before. Yeah, as for the reason why they work, why they give them this stuff, apparently it's also revealed that these people have supplied with ancient magical artifacts. That we don't know what these things are, aside from the fact they supply one of them with a staff that apparently can create objects out of ash. Okay. Yeah. The flashback portion, despite the fact I like the fighting for this particular thing, the villains for this particular flashback are so boring and so generic. There is nothing to these two at all, aside from the fact that Yumi knows them, and that's it. Nothing is known by these two guys, one of whom looks like he's actually wearing something from one's from the Crimson Lions. The other is from not the Grey Deer per se. It's from something else. Apparently, prior to this, Yumi and Vangence were promoted to vice captains of the Grey Deer, later the Aquatic Deer. And after they basically had their fight with the two magical knights where they get arrested, as what happened to them, unknown, because these two guys is just simply just filler. And so at the end, Yumi and Vangence get promoted to basically captains. Yumi forms basically basically the creation of the Black Bulls, and of course Vangence creates the Golden Dawn. And I should point out though, the Golden Dawns basically their uniforms are based upon what Vangence wears. Yep, and what he says about the Golden Dawn, it's completely true. What he does with them, basically making somebody make his loyalty to Julius. And here's the thing about the Black Bulls. I love the silhouettes of basically the potential members who becomes the potential members of the Black Bulls. Every single person here becomes a member anyways. And then we of course come back to present day where we're still talking the bathhouse. Asha is basically bored, or he gets out of his funk. And everyone gets dressed, and well, except for Vanessa, who's still basically in underwear. Everyone's just relaxing. Neo just pops up, just sits on Asha's head, and then we hear some banging at the door. Manga basically goes to answer it, and it's the captain of the Crimson Lions. Yep, who Asha refers to as Cis Lion, which in the manga she corrects her. Yeah. And the last minute of this episode is the only thing taken from chapter 133. The whole episode is simply put a filler episode. It's basically just, even though it's filler, but it's good filler. I like it. I mean, as far as nothing's made from the manga. I don't know if it's adapted from light novels. I don't know. But yeah, this was a pretty good episode. But I guess the whole point of this is basically just explain the backstory of how the squads of the Golden Dawn and the Black Bulls were created, which I appreciate that, and well, and the purpose of them. And the fact that both Yumi and Vangence are basically people who are very loyal to Julius. Oh yeah, and here's the thing. Yumi can actually call the Wizard King by his first name and actually get away with it. He actually does not get punished for what he does. My personal guess is the reason why he's allowed to get away with it, and this is my personal theory, is because he's known for a long time. That's simply the gist of it. Alright, now on to News Chapter Manga, where it's the Ultimate Mage. We have Ash taking on the demon. Yeah. I don't know what this demon's name is. I'm simply referring to it as the demon. Yeah. He basically brawls him a good period of time with Lasat just working alongside with him. And of course we have Nero in her human form healing up the first Wizard King. He's like, amazing. As the first Wizard King's like, I feel like we got started before. And she's like pulling his cheek, like focuses, ow, 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 what are you doing? Yeah, he probably know about her later. Yeah. Yeah, and then of course he talks for a little while, basically talks about the game. And then we see, looks like on the outside, this, looks like other magical knights are yeah, it's basically him on top of a hill. And that's says basically, let's finish this together. And we see the captain of the Crimson Lions. We see Noel in this chapter, along with a few other people. And was like shocked to see what's going on. And of course, he's like Fury of the Elves. He uses this tablet to use against the demon. Everyone's shocked. The fact, the whole demon is basically vaporized, except for his heart. Yeah, somehow his heart's still moving somehow, so restores him perfectly normal. And I was just like, I don't have any magic power, but let's me have a different power. Yeah, he's like really want to basically, he's basically going to Black Asha mode in order to take on the demon. Yep, and that's it for that particular chapter. I'm going to give this chapter roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Fantastic chapter. Okay, so yeah, before I end this video, I want to talk about a few things. Now, there is going to be, I'm planning on doing about 3 more videos today. 3, yes. Review news chapters, yes, chapters for Black Butler, because I finally released a new chapter for that series. Newest episode, Fairy Tail and Comic Corner. You would think, okay, I mentioned One Punch Man yesterday. Why don't we talk about that? Well, there's a reason for that. There's no new One Punch Man this week. Why? The French Open. Yep, a tennis tournament is the reason why there's no new episode of One Punch Man. But yep, Black Clover and Fairy Tail released new episodes, no problem though. Fairy Tail was a dub, but I think they did release. Fairy Tail did release new chapter this week, but not One Punch Man. Nope, not One Punch Man. One Punch Man did not release new chapter this week, a new episode this week at all, which is kind of sad. But gotta wait next week. Yep. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. My next one I'm going to do, a Comic Corner. It's on 2 Batman trades. Okay, produce next view. Bye.